Welcome everyone to another episode of Jones Smith TV with Right or Wrong segments. I'm your host Gary Smith, along with my co-host
Donald Jones.
And today we're gonna get right into it. Our childhood, man, just got a curveball thrown at it. Right or wrong, I think you both agree. We enjoyed watching Bill Cosby growing up.
Oh yeah,
you know
everything everybody did.
Yeah, he was like the all-American dad. You know, listen, even me being white, I want Bill Cosby to raise me.
That's what I'm saying. I think black, white doesn't matter.
Yeah, everyone wanted Bill Cosby to their dad, wearing a sweater, eating chocolate pudding.
You know what's crazy? I did a speech with Bill Cosby when I was in high school. It was Bill Cosby and his three doctors, and one of his things in his rider was he wanted pudding. Like when he got to playing for high school, they had to have pudding for him.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, we hear some crazy requests. My fiance worked at a comedy club, and they have some big names in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I always get amazed, like Eddie Griffin wanted Air Jordans, newest Jordans out there, and he made them buy them, and he just left the sneakers there. You know, but
what's the point of that shit?
Well, because some of them just want you to kiss their rear ends, but some maybe Cosby really wanted pudding.
Maybe. Can't remember if he ate it or not.
Well, either way, he got sentenced. Finally got sentenced.
I tell you that the judge ordered Bill Cosby to be taken straight to prison, and you can see him there, those pictures from the courtroom as he was led away in handcuffs, ready to start that sentence, which has been given as a minimum of 3 years and possibly up to 10 years. Those the latest pictures.
3 to 10 years was the verdict. Mm-hmm. And I never got that. Why is it 3 to 10? Yeah, just, hey, why don't you just give me a number, you know? Yeah. But he will be serving jail time. It's not whether he'll be staying home. He will be doing some time. Now, we'd imagine it's probably going to be in a pretty comfy facility. Right. He's not going to be with some hardened criminals, especially the charges that he's facing, you know?
Yeah. I think... When you look at all of these women that came out, Bill Cosby was wrong at what he did to these women. He was, giving them drugs, all of that stuff. But I think when you if you listen to people who are in the entertainment industry and have been in it for a while, they'll tell you the culture that's in that industry. And so, like I said, wrong in what he did to these women. But you always have to look at, why were you in his room with him late at night doing drugs? What did you think was going to happen after that? Did you think you were just going to go to sleep after that and you was going to wake up and go home the next day? I mean, what did you think was going to happen?
Yeah, well, here's the deal. I agree. Mm-hmm. Listen, I always pull back when I hear stories like that, mm-hmm. You know. When you and I were growing up, there was a famous high school recruit. Brian Banks was, I believe, his name. Remember that?
I think I remember.
He was a heavily recruited linebacker, California guy. USC was recruiting him. Ohio State was recruiting him. I mean, all the top schools. He was the number one prospect coming to high school. Right. And basically, he had a girlfriend. His girlfriend claimed that he raped her. The mom and the daughter sued the high school. It was a private high school. They were awarded some excess of over $1 million. And he got out when he was in his late 20s, maybe early 30s. Right. And, he lost his college. He lost all his recruits, scholarships. He lost all that youth of playing football, possibly going pro and making millions. Mm-hmm. And he comes home. She messaged him on Facebook. And he immediately calls his lawyer and says, "What should I do?" She keeps messaging me. He said, "Set up a room and see if she could admit that you didn't rape her." And of course, she went in there and he said, "Why'd you do it? Why'd you tell this lie?" He said, "Oh, my mom made me and she wanted the money." And so when I hear that stuff, I always err on the side of caution. Yeah. But here's the deal: when there's smoke, there's fire. Mm-hmm. That's a one-off incident, you know. And unfortunately, Brian Banks, I believe the gentleman's name, he can't get that back. Right. And that's very sad. And these women, unfortunately, they can't get back what happened to them. Mm-hmm. Right or wrong, if you're doing drugs with a celebrity or anybody, you have to be a gentleman. Unfortunately, Yeah. I've been sticky situations where, you know, I've friends or acquaintances have done that. And if a girl or anyone is with you and accompanying you, unfortunately, if she's not in the best state of mind and she's not your girlfriend,
right,
it's probably not the best time to pull the trigger, you know?
Yeah. And so, in that, you know, he was definitely wrong. And everybody knows, or you should know, as a man, especially if it's like really early in a relationship, if you get somebody drunk, man or woman, if you get somebody drunk, and y'all are not like sexually active yet, don't, or they're high or on whatever, don't go do it the first time while they're drunk or high, because you don't know what the reaction is going to be. You know what I'm saying? So, look, Bill Cosby was wrong in what he did to these women. But you also had that side of it where you ask yourself, well, man, why were you in his room at that time of night and hanging out with him? Now, for me, I'm going to look at it like they gave him 3 to 10 years. I don't know how long he's going to end up doing. But this happened so long ago. This dude is like blind now, you know, and it's like, you might as well just gave him house arrest. Like, why put him in prison now? And I feel like I saw somewhere on social media that he was transferred to a maximum facility prison, but that wouldn't make sense to me why they would do that to him. You know, like, what is he going to escape? What are we doing now?
But bottom line is this: is that, you know, I'm not the biggest believer in karma. It's hard for me to hear about karma when, you know, someone's born and they're, you know, paralyzed from the waist down.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard for me. Well, what would that kid do to deserve to be, you know? And people say, oh, his parents did something. That's all BS, man. Anyway, I think, you know, unfortunately in Bill's case that, you know, he may have had it coming because, you know, I hate to say it, he's got to live out his latter part of his years behind bars. And, you know, I like Bill growing up, but I can't be on board with him. He did something really, you know, disgusting. Maybe some of these women wanted it. And maybe I agree that maybe most of them did want it because he's a famous celebrity. And you know how the world works. You know, men in power, what they get. Mm-hmm. I mean, let's think, you could take some of the most ugly dudes in Hollywood and they get some of the best looking women because of who they are.
The biggest thing right now that everybody's talking about is, I mean, from the president on down, you know, and this gets into the racial side of it, but from the president to a Harvey Weinstein to all of these dudes that are like, you know, what are going to happen to these dudes that, you know, they have done the same thing. One
thing I don't like that you brought up, and I got to come at you on this, is that the age factor. I don't give a shit how old he is. Excuse my language. Mm-hmm. You know, think about it. Recently, Donald Trump deported this former Nazi from Germany, and the dude's in his 90s, and they were, you know, the guy couldn't even move. They had to wheel him out. But people are like, "Oh yeah, he was a Nazi. Get him out!" Like, no one's showing sympathy for this dude when he did in the 30s and 40s. Mm-hmm. You know, why should age be a factor? Is it?
I don't think. Look, age. You're right. The age shouldn't be a factor because he's old. You did what you did, then you gotta deal with that, and that's jail time for him. Yeah, it doesn't matter how old you are. If you were on your deathbed and they send you to jail on your deathbed, it is what it is.
You gotta, unfortunately, you gotta do it.
My biggest thing is we better see some things come down the pipe for all of the rest of these dudes that are facing these same.
Without a doubt, if Bill Cosby gets to do time and Harvey Weinstein doesn't,
right?
Because he's got deeper pockets right now than Bill Cosby, and
something's wrong with that.
There's something terribly wrong. And in fact, they just released a video. You and I should discuss this later on of him flirting with a girl. Yeah, you'll have to see it, bro. It's disgusting. But either way, Bill, you know, we loved you when we were growing up, but you broke our hearts, man. So you did the crime. You got to do the time.
Got to do the time, man.